Hey everybody, welcome to Mammoth Interactive's YouTube channel. First of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. And remember that this channel doesn't do Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital courses down below. And every single dollar that we get from the products you buy below goes into making more content. The best way to help out this channel and Mammoth Interactive is to subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. Get thousands of hours and hundreds of courses for a low price down below. We have a monthly option and a yearly option. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the video.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Adobe After Effects. As you can see right here, we have a fresh sort of opened program right here. And when we want to start up a new composition or new video editing sort of area, which is called a composition, you can just simply click on these sections right here that are shown on your composition layer, or this little window. Or you can just simply go over to the composition option, click on the new composition option, and as you can see right here, we get a little window that pops up and shows us the sort of settings that we can set for our composition. Now for our composition name, I'm just going to rename this as comp test. Now in the presets, this is the video format or video size of sort of preset video size and format of our composition, setting it to HDTV or HDV 720. As you can see right here, this is the size or sort of the aspect ratio of the video, and this is the frames per second that is used by the sort of composition. Now you can tweak this if you don't like the aspect ratio or the size of your sort of work area or the composition. But as you can see, this is a preset of HDTV 720. The height is 720, the width is 1280 pixels. And we just lock the aspect ratio. So if we do change things right here, as you can see, it also changes the other sort of section right here. We're just going to set it back to 720. You can double click it, type it, make it more accurate. And I click enter, accidentally just, it selected the composition settings right there. Now if you want to, continue on with editing whatever presets that are in your composition, you can just go back to composition settings, and as you can see, we're back here again. And right here we have the aspect ratio of the pixels, square pixels. Perfect, we'll just leave that at that. This is the frame rate. As you can see right here, it's basically 29.97. You can switch that up to something else. I don't know, like 24 frames, 30 frames exact. But we'll just leave it at the default 29.97 resolution. As you can see right here, it's 1280 by 720. And also the start time code, that's where your sort of composition starts. The duration of your video, currently it's set to 1 minute 59 seconds and 28 milliseconds. That's probably due to the fact that our frames are set to 29.97. We can just leave it like this. Seems a pretty decent large sort of comp area that we'll need, or sort of the time frame that we need. And also right here, the background, we can change that up to a different color. You can actually select like a gray or something. As you can see in the background there, you can click OK and click OK, and there you go. We have sort of the comp right here. And as you can see, it also sort of creates the new composition over here, so we can play around with this. So we drag it in to certain areas if you want to mix and match certain compositions together. But yeah, as you can see right here, we have the composition, and you can just zoom in and out by using the middle mouse button. And if you want to move around, just hold on to space and left click to sort of shift around in your composition. Now, if you want to make it so that your composition is fully, it's large enough that it sort of touches the corners, or you use the maximum amount of space in this little window right here, all you have to do is just simply click over here on this tab. Magnifies the ratio of the composition, you can just click on fit, and as you can see, it uses the composition to the sort of max space right here of this window I can take up. You can enlarge this if you want, but yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've introduced the composition setting or window over here, let's go on to the other sections. Now, as I said before, composition window right here is where you mainly see your results of your work. And over here on the left is the project window, where you have all your assets, where you can sort of drag and drop or sort of upload them into this section right here. And then you can sort of take them into the layer section, where you can play around with them to mix and match and sort of show the result over here. On the right section right here, these are the info or sort of the additional information, such as the color and or audio of the certain pieces or areas of your window. Now, the preview window is sort of a button where you can, a section where you can just click and play the composition or sort of preview what it looks like. If you were to click on the spacebar, you'll notice that there is this little line that is running, that is showing that it is previewing through whatever section that is sort of animated in your window right here. But since we have nothing in our comp window, there is nothing to basically see. And I'm just going to drag this back right here. Now, under the preview section, you have the libraries or characters. As you can see right here, this is just the sort of basic settings of how your if you were to use like text, you can sort of shape them up or sort of change up the template of how those text options look. Now, let's sort of play around with our layers section right here. Let's go over to the top, and we're gonna just create a basic sort of solid layer. It's quite simple. Just click on a solid, and as you can see right there, you can rename the layer here. Let's just call it red solid 1. We'll just leave it default. Aspect ratio or size of the block is 1280 by 720. Let's just leave it like so, and let's go ahead and just click OK. Actually, before that, we can set the color so it kind of differs from the gray. Well, red color right here seems decent enough. We can I'll just leave it at red. Click OK, and as you can see right there, if we click OK, it creates a giant solid layer that covers up the sort of background base comp layer. As you can see right here, you can sort of change the size if you want. Now, to do that, it's quite simple. Let's go over to the red solid, and I'm going to click on the letter S on your keyboard, aka scale. As you can see, it jumps out scale. That's the scale option right here. And we can, as you can see right here, everything is 100%, which is the max size of this solid layer. We can decrease it, or we can increase it outside of the zone, but you can't really see it, as you can see right there. We can drop it down to say 50%, and there you go. We have a singular solid red rectangle in our composition. Now, if you don't want a rectangle, you want a custom sort of size or scale this piece right here. Notice how when you drag on either side of the sort of percentages, it sort of just increases, decreases both the numbers right here. Well, you can sort of unlink that by simply clicking on this little chain option right here. I can see constrain proportions, aka option click, and just turn that off right there, and click on that. And right now, if I were to select this side, you'll notice that it is only shrinking or increasing the x-axis of our rectangle right here. Now, this is the x, and this is the y. As you can see, you can grow it taller and shorter, whatever size you want. Let's shrink it down to, say, 50%, and I think 30%? Yeah. there you go. We have a more of a cube looking structure right here. And yeah, we can sort of populate our backgrounds with multiple different shapes if you wish to sort of play around with your composition, or have them as a sort of stand-in object for certain video assets later down the line. But yeah, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, since we've already talked about scale, let's go around and sort of play with the other major sort of options that you can tweak around with certain assets on your composition window. Now, first off, S is for scale. Then you have something called transparency, which is the opacity of your your object right here. You can click on T and notice how it switches from scale to O, or well, it's supposed to be transparency, but opacity also works too. So you just click on T and it switches over to the option for opacity. Now, as you can see right here, our cube itself, it is set to a solid 100% transparency. Not transparency, the opposite of transparency. It is completely opaque, and you can see the red right here. Now I'm actually going to create another layer. I'm just going to copy and paste this. If you click on the layer itself, like double click it, it will jump to a more sort of additional detail sort of options or selection of your layer right here, and you can sort of make some additional edits on your layer here. But we're just going to go back to the layer right here, our main composition window, and I am going to say copy and paste this, or duplicate this option right here. Just click copy and paste, and let's rename number 2 as something else. Let's go with red layer 2, and let's double click this. I'm going to switch this to some different color. Let's change this. Okay, we're going to go over to the layer options, and we are going to the solid settings. It's kind of like the composition settings, where you can just go back into the settings there, click on it, and let's select, say, a nice blue or something like that. It seems okay. Let's go okay, and let's jump out there. We can move this piece right here, or we can go back to the red layer and sort of test out the transparency option. Let's go ahead and just slightly tweak this down. Let's go like fully transparent, 0%. As you can see through the red now, and it is completely gone. It's invisible, and you can see the background, which is a nice blue color right there. And if you want to mix and match it, as you can see, it turns into purple. Let's go like 50% or something. 50, and yeah, there you go. We can see partly the red, and of course you can see the blue, which what happens is when you combine them together, normal easy color sort of mixes, it turns it from a red and blue into a purple color. And yeah, there you go. We have sort of played around with the opacity option right here, and you can pretty much do a lot of things with those basic options, such as scaling and sort of playing around with the transparencies. But yeah, for now, let's just take a short break and come back to this later. Okay, now that we've kind of played around with both the scaling and the opacity or transparency options of the layer editing options right here, we can go ahead and sort of play around with the positioning of said objects. Now, as you can see right here, we have opacity. Now, to change that to positioning, you can click on the letter or hotkey for positioning, which is P. So I'll click on P, as you can see right there. It switches the option right here over to position. And this is the sort of base position we have right here. It's sitting at 640 by 360. And if we want to move it on the x-axis, also remember X is on the first and Y is next. As you can see right here, we can just move it slightly to the side and to the right. if you go negative, it just goes out into the, outside of said sort of composition area. Don't really want that. We can leave that in here. But as you can see, you can just play around with the sort of position of your object right here, or you can just manually, drag things right here, like over there and there. But I like things being more precise, and just typing in things like the numbers or coordinates of said objects just makes life so much easier. And yeah, you can just play around with the movement. Now, if you can't remember the sort of hotkeys for said the sort of options right here, you can simply just click on the little drop down menu here on the solid object. Click on that, and you'll notice that we have these options here. The transformation or transform options right here. We have the anchor point, which is where the original area or original sort of object would be set to. The positioning, or where we just position, sort of placed up the solid right here. The scale, we've already talked about that, and rotation right there. Rotation, you can just sort of flip it, or not flip it, more like rotate this object right here to a certain degree, well, as much as you want. Pretty much, just it maxes out at 360, but it can go even more. Say if you want to create a sort of twirling tornado, you can sort of just keep rotating it like crazy. And as you can see, it sort of shows you the amount of times you've rotated past 360. So that's like 2 times 360 right there, and 3 times more. We can just go back to 0, and let's set it back to 0. And the hotkey for rotation is simply R. When you click R, it just jumps back to a singular sort of option right here. But yeah, you don't really use rotation as much, but if you do, you can use that option as well. And as you can see right there, we have opacity at the end. You can switch this back to 100, and notice how it just goes full block again. Now, if we were to close down everything right here, you wanted to just set the certain options, such as like having, scale, opacity, and positioning out. It's quite simple. You can click on S first, click Shift on, and then click T, hold Shift, then hold Shift and P, and you get 3 options. You only see 3 options, you don't see everything else, because like sometimes, like later down the line, when we are using masks or different sort of effects on a sort of I guess a layer right here, you'll be seeing a lot of things. If you were to open up the drop down menu right here, you'll be seeing multiple things. You don't really want to see all that, because you have to scroll constantly. Or like right now, if I wanted to get to something over here or over there, it's just going to be a real hassle, sort of scrolling all the way down to find like that certain option. So all you have to do is just clean up the clutter, and just hold turn that on, Shift S T P, and you just get the options that you want to see. And that's pretty much it for those basic 3 sort of options that you can sort of play around with your object right here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've gotten the sort of basic understanding of the different options I can do or sort of mess with a certain object in your composition, let's start playing around with the animation side of things. Now, as you can see right here, let's just go with one thing at a time. I'm going to start off with the scale again. Let's just go scale, or click S again. Let's go to a maximum of 100, back to 100. Let's go back to 100, not 500, 100. And I'm just going to, click on the chain right here. We are going to reset the, position. I'm just going to set this back to 640, as you can see right there. And everything seems okay. We have max opacity. Let's jump back to just leaving the scale right here. Click S. And as you can see right here, we have this little stopwatch right here. Actually, before explaining the stopwatch, I'm going to sort of explain the work area or sort of time frame area right here. This is our sort of our layer sort of duration, if I could say that. It's where all your sort of animations happen. As you can see right here, you can scrub downwards. Notice how this is like 15 seconds. This is 2 minutes right here. This is where everything sort of moves in your composition. Now you can sort of increase the amount of frames that you can see, or amount of seconds I can see. Right now we're at the we've zoomed out like to the maximum, which is why you can see from the sort of the timeline where you can see 0 seconds all the way to 2 minutes. But if you just want to focus on like the first, let's say 15 seconds, all you have to do is just sort of zoom in, or you can just scroll in, or you can hold onto Alt and scroll, and you can scroll in the certain times or section right here of your sort of timeline right here. And we can also just slightly manually drag this section right here, this little top tab. This is where you can sort of search around the different seconds or frames that you're going to be sort of playing around with. As you can see right here, we have 1 to 20 seconds. It's close enough to 15 is like right about here. I'm just going to drop it down a little bit more so you can see the number, or actually, yeah, just go like this. 14 seconds, 15 is like an odd number, so I'm just going to leave it right here. Let's play around with the time watch right here. This is where you set the different options of your sort of animations, or the sort of, I guess, sort of clips that you want to create in your sort of object or asset in your composition. So right now what we have is a solid scale or solid block, and I'm just going to turn on the time scale, or turn on the sort of animation right here, as you can see right there. And what it sort of gives us is this sort of dot. This is a keyframe that it has created. Now the first keyframe we have set to a 100% in size or scale. On the first 0 seconds right here, we can go down to, say, I'm gonna go to like 4 seconds or something, and let's drop this down to 0, or let's go like 30, something small. Yeah, there you go. And once you change something, it automatically puts a sort of keyframe right here. And as you can see right here, 1 dot, another dot right here. And if we were to scrub things, you'll notice that your your object, or your solid here, is transitioning from 100% all the way down to this little 30% sized, I guess rectangle. It's not cube anymore because I sort of swapped up some things. But yeah, there you go. And if you want, we can sort of change around some things also. We can make this like 100% or something. Let's go another 100, or no, not 100. Let's go something lower, because this is originally 100. That means it's just going to stay as 100 from here to here, and then drop down instantly to 30%. Let's go like 10% right here. 10%. So as you can see right here, it drops 10% and just sort of zips back out into 30%. And yeah, it just sort of creates this sort of snapshot, or this little time frame snap, whenever you sort of make a little correction to, this object's scale right here. Let's go back to around 6 seconds. Let's go back to 100%, or let's go with, I don't know, 60 or 70. Let's go 60%. And again, it just adds a little keyframe, easy, simple, and there you go. Let's go 8% or 8 seconds. Let's just jump to 100%, and there you go. If we were to scrub through it, the object would sort of just bounce around, turn it into this, it shrinks down, blows up even more, and at the end turns into this massive block again. Now, we can, if we want to switch things up, say right here, as you can see, the little keyframe right here, all we have to do is just click shift and sort of drag the little needle right here to snap to that object right here, or the little keyframe right here. Because if you don't snap it, or if you don't change it on that keyframe, it's gonna mess up. Let's say, like, I don't know, if we change this to like 20%, it's gonna just have this weird zip right here. It's this little tiny frame. If we sort of zoom in even more, as you can see right here, there's like this little section right here that is, it's not connected. And well, we didn't edit that original keyframe right there, and it just sort of messes up the composition that we sort of created, this little pattern of like shrinking and expanding. To sort of delete the keyframes right there, all you have to do is just click on, well, let's go back to it. Let's click on this little button, remove, just remove it, and there you go. That keyframe is gone. Hold shift, it snaps onto the original keyframe. We're going to select that keyframe. Let's drop this down to, let's see, this was 60%. Let's go down to like, I don't know, 50. I'm going to go type in like 40 or something. 40%. Let's zoom out again. I'm going to hold on to Alt and just scroll a little bit too much. I can manually sort of drag this a little bit. Let's go to 10 seconds. And as you can see right here, I sort of scrolled it as best I could, but as you can tell, it's 10 seconds and 1 microsecond right there. It's just going to go over to 10, click in 0, and it sort of just moves the needle. And we are going to set this to 100%. Ooh, not 500, let's just go 100. Boom, there you go. We have this weird animation where this sort of red block is just like flying in and out in our sort of vision. Now, as you can see right here, if we zoom out, this bar right here, this work area, time ruler, this is the sort of area where our composition can be previewed. Now, it's currently set to default of 0 to 2 minutes. We don't want to see just, this tiny little section of animation in pure, like, just nothing right here. We're just going to slightly shrink this down. Hold on to shift, and it'll snap on to about here. I'm going to slightly zoom out a bit. I'm going to go to like 12 seconds or something, because this is 100%, this is 100%. If we have 200%, it's going to look kind of odd. You know what, I'm just going to sort of increase the size of the ruler again, snap it over, and on this one, I'm going to scale this down to, I don't know, 50% or something. So it gives it this nice sort of constant changing look. So it's nothing like this constant 100% red block piece right here. And now, as you can see, if we were to click on the play button, it'll start from there, and then it'll continue to animate and sort of preview what our sort of video looks like. And as you can see, every frame, it is just shifting and sort of animating how our object is moving. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. I would say so for myself, but it's slightly a little bit slower. But yeah, it's every 2 seconds the object is changing. We can shrink that down by simply selecting all these objects right here. I'm just gonna stop the video, and I'm gonna just grab all these guys right here. I'm just gonna hold shift and drag, and we are just gonna slightly shrink these guys. Well, actually, never mind. If we were to shrink it, we'll be going into the realms of sort of time manipulation. Kind of sounds odd, but well, it's not really odd. It just sounds kind of interesting, but it's something else. As you can see right here, if we right click on the the solid right here, this layer, you'll see the time option. There's enable time remapping. We're gonna touch on that later on. We'll just leave our sort of keyframes for now. They're safe for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the scaling and slight sort of keyframe option for scaling. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've sort of touched on the keyframes of, well, basically all the assets that you're going to be sort of playing with, you'll have the options of sort of keying up different frames. As you can see right here, all these different times or stopwatches. We're just gonna continue on with the other sort of options such as opacity and positioning. Now, first off, I'm sort of going to further explain the keyframes here a bit that we didn't really touch on last time. If you want to sort of select certain keyframes, you can use, like I said, use a needle right here, hold shift, and it'll snap to the next one. But what if you are too lazy to click on that? You can just simply click on the little option right here, the next keyframe key, or the little arrow key right here. Just click on that. It will just automatically jump to the next keyframe. And you won't see any transformations in between. As you can see right here, it just automatically jumps to the next frame, to the next frame, and to the next, to the next. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, another thing, make sure you don't accidentally click on the stopwatch over here, because if you accidentally click it, it just deletes all the keyframes right there. So I'm just gonna undo that and leave it like so. Let's click on Shift T. I'm gonna go click Shift T, turn on opacity, and we are going to just play around with things right here. Same thing, turn on the key, and as you can see right here, the opacity layer of our red solid layer also has a keyframe now that is set, and I'm just gonna snap it to the next one right here. I am going to drop this to 10%. I don't want it to be completely zeroed. Let's go 10%. As you can see, you can scrub it. You'll notice that it is transforming downwards into this very thin shade of red right here. And we can bump it up again to, say, let's go 50%, because it's still within the blue. I like this nice sort of transition between the red and purple and blue. Let's go on to the next frame. It's already covering everything here. Let's go 100% and back down to 50%. And snap right there, 100. Let's go 100. As you can see, again, every time you make a little correction, it also changes it over here. And actually, you know what? I don't want it to be at 100. Let's go like 80, so you can still see this little cube right here. And let's go up to the bottom right here. Let's go 50, and there you go. Now if you click on play or just spacebar, you'll notice that it is transforming. It is doing both a scaling sort of look to it, and also it is transitioning between sort of this different transparencies, giving us this nice sort of alive like look to our our rectangle right here. I'm just gonna switch this back to like 90%, like the full 100 when you see like nothing right here. And as you can see right here, it sort of snaps back from 80 to 90% instantly. Let's sort of play around with this. Boom, yeah, 90. And there you go. We've created something that is slightly animated in this sort of basic introduction of After Effects. It's, something small. It's just a start, and it's looking pretty good. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've sort of played around with the red solid, as in the sort of scaling and opacity levels and their sort of keyframe options, we're going to go over to the positioning of our object, and I am going to not move around the red solid block. I'm going to move around the blue solid instead. It's quite simple. Let's just go over to the blue block right here. It's still called red solid because I duplicated the block right here, and it sort of just copied and pasted the red solid block name. Just gonna rename that, simply clicking right click and going all the way down to rename, and we can just click on rename. Let's type in, let's go to the front. I'm gonna call this the blue solid, or blue solid 2. And there you go. It just changes that name to Blue Solids. It doesn't really look odd anymore. Also, if you kind of want to change your composition's sort of name right here, as you can see, it's called comp test. It doesn't really sound that good. I can change the name here as well. Right click it, rename, change it to something else. Say like, I don't know, blocks, simple blocks test, blocks test. Yeah, there you go. We just changed the entire composition name. As you can see, it changes over here, here, and here. But yeah, there you go. Let's go back to the positioning option of our block. Now, let's click on the letter P. I'm just gonna set a position. Actually, let's go to 0 seconds. I am going to sort of set this. I'll turn this on right here, and let's kind of zoom out of our composition. I'm gonna just move our window so I can see things a little bit better. As you can see right here, it is set to well, the center right here, and I want to make it so that this block flies through to the other side right there. Let's just sort of decrease this. Let's go down to, let's say like 0 or something. 0 is still within the sort of composition window, so we're going to go into negatives. I believe it is negative 200, I guess. Negative 200. Let's type that in. I'm going to keep the y-axis right here. Let's just leave it like so. And as you can see right here, our keyframe has locked it in. Let's jump all the way to, say, the center, or I guess 6 seconds right here is enough. And I am going to move this to... We can sort of change up the speed, kind of. We can make it so that it just zips over here and slowly moves over here. Let's go like 2 seconds then. Let's go 2 seconds. I'm going to make it so that it zips all the way to 630. I think it was 630 before. 640, I think. 640. You check the numbers or the positioning of the block right there. You can just go back to your original red block, Shift P. As you can see, yeah, 640, that was the position of the block right there. Let's go back to the blue block. And if we were to scrub the timeline right here, we can go back, as you can see right here, click play. It just zips right out. And it's going to stop right now because there's no other options or no other sort of commands for the block. I'm just going to go all the way down to, let's go down 12 seconds. And just move this to, whatchamacallit, is like 200 plus. So, or not 200 plus, it's just times 2 of 640, and then plus 200, as you can see right here. Whatchamacallit, 1280 plus 200. So there you go, that's outside. So 1480 is the number of position that we want. And if we were to click on play, you'll notice that the block comes out shooting first and then slows down because of the sort of greater frames that you have taken up, sort of transitioning it from 640 all the way to 1480. And yeah, there you go. We have this sort of combination, this sort of mesh-like different animation kind of composition that we have right here. There's a lot of words to go through. But yeah, there you go. That's just the basics of these sort of, the keyframes, how to, sort of transition, move things in your composition so you can take whatever you're building to the next level when you're trying to, design a simple sort of, I guess you can go for like a logo, I don't know, or you can go for like a sort of introduction. But yeah, that's pretty much it for these few options. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've sort of played around with the 3 basic ways of transformations or the transform options for these assets or these layers, let's go ahead and sort of play around with the additional options, let's just go down to the blue block right here, blue solid, and we're going to play around with the anchor point and the rotation. We can, combine both of them together to kind of show you what the effects are when you sort of, mess with those right there. Now, we're just going to solely work on the blue solid. I'm going to turn off the red solid, or the visibility of the red solid. As you can see right here on the far left, there is a sort of icon right here, and as you can see right there, it says hide videos, if any, in composition. If you sort of hover on it, it's sort of gives you the explanation of said option right there. And we're just going to click on this little icon. We're just going to hide it by turning it off. And as you can see right here, we're back to the gray background that we have in our base composition. And if we scrub our sort of our timeline right here, we get the blue block just flying out and zipping outside again. Now we are going to sort of play with the anchor, the base anchor at the front right here. Let's click on anchor point, set keyframe. Let's go down to the middle section, or mid section of our transition, or positioning of our block. Actually, the midpoint was right here, 2 seconds, because I shifted it to make it a little bit faster. We can sort of play around right here to show you what it sort of does. The anchor point is still at the midpoint is still at the center of our sort of center of the position line right here. It's kind of interesting to see right here. As you can see right here, so it transitions position. It's going along the line, but the anchor point, or the positioning of the cube, has been sort of sent off to the outside right here. I'm gonna actually sort of zoom in a little. I want to snap this together, and I'm gonna slightly move this up, or how about like here or something, and a little bit higher as well. And as you can see, it has this weird transition. It's like the cube has suddenly just zipped on by. And I am going to go around right here. Let's go like 6 seconds. I'm gonna make it so that it goes up and then goes down to about here. Quite simple. We can just turn down the y-axis, and let's go down to like 200. No, let's go 0. 0 actually looks pretty good. You can go like negative or something. So it sort of has this weird lightning bolt transition, or sort of positioning. It just goes like this and goes down, and as you can see right here, it just bumps downwards, hits right here around 6 second mark. It goes over here, and it just sort of transitions again back in, still in this like sort of this point right here, and it slowly just drifts outwards into the unknown. And because our sort of x-axis of the cube is slightly shifted to the left, when you go to the end, it's gonna still kind of peek out right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and fix that a little bit. I'm gonna make it so like a little bit to the right. You can change it at the end if you want to do that as well. I guess I'll do that. I'll make this cube sort of go down all the way here, hits the sort of lower peak area, and I'm gonna make it so that it sort of shoots upwards to up here. So let's go with positive, I don't know, what was 700? Around here, maybe a little bit higher. Let's go like 850, 830, 830. 830 seems good. And there you go. We have this weird sort of bouncing motion of our cube right here. And if we set it to play, boom, it goes up, bounces down slowly, and then bounces up again, and then slowly drifts upwards. Now, the reason why it seems so slow is because we set the positioning, or the sort of transitioning of the cube across our little composition right here to this really slow pace movement over here. We can actually drag this all the way through here to make it like, you know, zip by as well, but I'll just leave it like so because I want to see the, you know, movement of the cube right here a little bit better. And yeah, that's pretty much it for anchor point. Again, it's just sort of the changing the, I guess, the placement, or these, I guess, the center, or it's more like displacing the object from the center to sort of shift it towards a certain area. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the anchor point. You can play a little bit more, you know, make it so that it looks less floaty right here. As you can see, because the action is so slow, it feels like it's just floating up and down, up and down. But yeah, that's pretty much it for anchor points for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've gone through the other sort of options right here, we still have one last sort of option, or transform option, which is the rotation. It's quite simple, straightforward. As you can see right here, if we were to go to 0 again, I'm just going to set the rotation as 0%. We can, you know, go over to the next point where our transition of our anchor point, which is around 2 seconds. We can spin this like, I don't know, 1 rotation, or not 5 rotations, go like 1. And if we were to scrub the video backwards, as you can see, it's rotating around the sort of center. This is the center of the cube, and because the anchor point has been moved over here, it sort of rotates around the well, the orbit, or not really, kind of orbits around the sort of center point of the cube right here, and sort of just displaces it as well. So yeah, it has this weird sort of rotational transition. And let's go back to the 1 rotation. We can go up to like 2. Let's just type in 2, and it's gonna spin crazily right here. Click space, as you can see right there, it spins outwards, stops, and then the reason why it stopped is because everything else is 0 rotations out here, and it just slowly goes by. And we can also just go back to, I don't know, you can make this like a negative rotation right here. I'm going to go -1 or -2. Make sure it goes -2. So as you can see, we go from 1 rotation, 2 rotation, hits the peak, and then spins backwards right here. It goes back down to the point again, and then it just slowly transforms outwards back to the sort of point right here where the anchor point was before, and it just slowly goes upwards, transforms again. And it just stays static because we didn't set a rotation to it, and it's still set to -2 rotations. And all you have to do is just go over here to rotations again, and we can just spin this out of control. Let's go like I don't know, 10 rotations. This thing is kind of odd. It just spins out crazily out of control. We can click on play and see how it looks, and as you can see right here, it just goes crazy. Because our positioning is super slow, it's just gonna spin outwards and just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And yeah, there you go. Now we'll probably need to slightly change up some options, you know, like the positioning again at this section, because once it hits this area right here, it is no longer in the composition, but because it's rotating, some of the corners still kind of flop outwards into the composition right here. So we can, you know, just slightly edit the positioning right here. We can go out even more. I don't know, somewhere like 1600. 1600, enter, and we can sort of scrub backwards and see how it looks like. Okay, it's still spinning. Some parts in the corners are still spinning out, and then yeah, we could go even farther. Let's go like, I don't know, 2000, and there we go. It's maybe a little bit too far. Oh, way too far. Let's go like 1700. I still want to see some bits, not like everything's gone, but yeah, there you go. if we click on spacebar, should just spin, 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 all the way, and slowly this disappears outside, and then this jumps back again to the front of our composition. And yeah, there you go. We have sort of this weird sort of trajectory for our blue, our blue box right here, blue solid. And yeah, pretty fun to use. This is some sort of, a sort of edit that you can do to, I guess, titles, names, some sort of like something that jumps out if you wish to like create some sort of like introduction or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. It's just a little fun thing that you can play with when you're trying to design something that has motion. I don't know, you can have like a bouncy ball that's constantly like going like up and down, up and down, up down. It's just a simple, basic sort of animation that you can create using just solids and having the ability to transform the solid right there. But yeah, that's pretty much there is to know. Probably additional things that we'll sort of touch up on later down the line. But yeah, these are the basic things that you should know how to use in your compositions to create these goofy looking animations. But yeah, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, we're back again with After Effects. Now, sort of played around with the solid layers, or solid color layers right here. Let's go ahead and just turn these guys off. I'm going to close them off. And we are going to create some simple text. It's quite simple to use. You can go over to the layer section. You can go create new, and you'll notice that there is the option for text right here. We can just click on that to create the text, or we can actually go over here to the top sort of toolbar section right here. You'll notice there's all these other options. We're going to select on text. Now, if we click on text, or select the tool right now, and drag and drop right here, you can just simply type in whatever you want into this sort of speech bubble over here. Just type in test in all caps. As you can see right here, we have the text sitting on the top left corner of our sort of speech bubble right here. We can go ahead and switch around some of the options. As you can see right here on the far right, we have this paragraph window right here. You have all these options of placing the text on the left aligned section, center, or right aligned. There's also the additional sort of other options when you're sort of typing out paragraphs or sentences. This is where you end your paragraphs or whatever sentence that you're created inside this little speech bubble. That's where the orientation is sort of ended at, as you can see with the tiny little symbol or this little icon down here. And yeah, these are sort of the additional margin and paragraph spacing. As you can see right here, if you sort of hover around, you'll notice all the lines that pop up. Those are all the additional sort of settings for your text or your paragraphs. But yeah, I'm going to switch this. I'm going to select the text that we've created. I'm going to set it to the center instead of having it in the top left. Just makes it look a little bit better. And yeah, the text itself is kind of small when compared to everything else in our scene here. Just going to slightly enlarge the text itself by going down to the character over here. You can slightly drag this up and sort of play around with this. We're also going to turn off the preview section here. We don't really need this panel because all we have to do is just simply click on spacebar to turn things on or sort of let things play through. To do that, we can just simply click on and close panel, and it will just take that away. And if you do want it back for whatever reason, it's quite simple. Just go over to Window, and you can just scroll down all the way to Preview, or you can click on the hotkey Command 3. You can just turn that option back on again. But yeah, we don't want it. It's going to close that off. I'm going to slightly move things a little bit higher, give myself more space around here. And let's select our text. And also, let's see, let's enlarge this by a little bit more. Right now it's currently set to 36 font size. Let's go increase it. We can sort of click on the numbers and just slide the slider, or you can, type in the whatever number that you wish to blow the text up to. Let's go like, I don't know, 200%. Seems okay. As you can see, a preview right there, and everything seems okay. Since we're just using a single text right here, we don't have to do much with things. You can also kind of switch up the font style. Let's go with whatever style we want right here. Just scroll down the text settings right here, or you can select one or type one in, whatever you want. I'm just gonna go stick with one of the more classic text types. I'm just gonna go with Times New Roman. Let's go regular. Seems okay. And there you go. We have a giant text right here. You can also switch up some of the colors of said text, because right now it's just a plain white color. We can switch it to something else. Let's go with different fill color. Let's go with a nice and simple green color. Click OK, and it will set the color here. You can also do some additional changes to the outer sort of layer of the text right here. You can just simply go over to this sort of fill area, the stroke color. We can just switch this from transparent to something else to make it stand out more. As you can see right there, you can see this black outline. You can increase the size of the stroke right here. Let's just increase this number from 1 to say something else. I guess 5 works right now. We can also change around the different types or styles of how the stroke is going to affect the text itself. Let's go use stroke overfill right here. So as you can see right there, if we sort of zoom in, I'm gonna slightly move things. Oop. Let's undo that. And I accidentally deleted the entire text right there. Let's just redo that. Sort of just type it in. Test. All caps. EST. And yeah, there you go. Let's see. We can also sort of space out some things if you feel like everything's getting too close. Let's increase this by, I don't know, 140%? 140? Let's stretch this out to 142. And let's see, where are you spacing? Let's try this. 200%? Yeah, you can go even higher. You can try whatever you want. But yeah, there you go. We have this nice sort of stretched out text that we can sort of play around. If you want to move it, simply go to the hand tool. We're just going to grab this piece right here. You're going to move it. Oh, not the hand tool. The pointer tool right here. You can just drag this down. You can hold shift to make sure that it sort of locks into this one line or the sort of rail right here. Well, more like an invisible rail. And you can also do it and sort of lock it in on the both horizontal and vertical lines. As you can see right here, it's just moving one sort of rail right here. You can sort of let it hop around, sort of snaps too. But yeah, there you go. Just gonna leave it like so. Kind of feel like we should set it in the center a little bit. Make sure to click first, then click on shift, because if you don't click first, then click on shift, it's gonna sort of create this selection or option to select additional objects, like so. As you can see right there, I just selected the blue blocks or blue solid that we have right there. Just gonna deselect it, grab the text again, and just sort of, shift things around. And if you don't like the area where it's been shifted, we can go back to the transform or positioning. Just simply click on P, and as you can see right here, we have sort of the again, the X and Y right here. Now the previous other options or other boxes right here, they're all anchored to 360. Let's just type that in, 360. Click on it. Oh wait, this is Y. I should be clicking on 640 instead. 640. And let's just go down to 600. No, 580 seems pretty good. Let's go back and fit our composition window. Okay, slightly not in the center. Let's just put it up right here. 550. Sure, why not? Yeah, there you go. We have basic sort of usages of our well, we've kind of learned the basic knowledge of how to use the text option in our compositions. Now, like the other sort of layers, the red and blue solids right here, you can also play around with all these sort of transform options right here. As you can see, if I open things up, there's all these additional options that you can sort of play around with the texts that you're going to be creating. You can create any types of titles, have things fade away. But yeah, let's play around with that later on. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, now that we've sort of played around with the basic text and characters options right here, let's go ahead and sort of add in some additional things to make it pop out from the rest of our composition right here. It's quite simple. We can either use the basic manual sort of transformations, such as adding, making it animated by adding some transformations on the position, scale, rotation, and opacity. Also, you can change up the anchor point if you want. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to close off everything here. Let's turn off the blue solid in the background so we don't see it anymore. Let's go ahead and click on scale, shift T, transparency, and position. You can also add in rotation if you want. I'm just going to go with the basics right here. Now, as you can see, our test sort of text right here is just a sort of basic test, basic image right here, right now. It's just standing right there, not doing anything. If you scroll on your sort of timeline right here, nothing's happening. Let's go ahead and make it so that it is going from outside the work area here. I'm just going to zoom out and slightly move to the side here. Let's grab this guy. We're going to just hold shift and just zip it out here. And we can turn on the keyframes. So right now, first frame or 0 frame, as you can see right here. I'm just going to zoom in a little. Let's grab the area here. Maybe increase our work area and our timeline. It's a little too much. Let's sort of shrink it a little bit here. And let's go 1 second. I'm going to make it so that it flies outwards. Let's go to 640, which was the point before. Click enter. As you can see right here, it just goes boom. Right there. It flies outwards. And we can sort of increase the scale at the same time. I'm going to go from 0, or 0%. Let's go 0%. And once it comes out towards this part, gotta make sure you turn on the little stopwatch here, right here, to add in the key. I'm gonna go over to the next one, move the sort of needle right here. We're gonna just scroll over, hold shift to snap onto this point right here. And we are just gonna click on the little node here and turn on the keyframe. And make sure you change, let's just change this to 100%. Not 300, my bad. Let's go 100. And as you can see, when it's flying out, it has like this sort of combination of movement and scale changes. And if you want, we can, make it go more crazy and like spin right out. You know what? Let's do that. Why not? Let's go Shift R. Let's add in the rotation. Let's go stopwatch over here with 0, and we can spin it a few times. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go with 2 rotations. Not 7. My bad. Actually, you know what? Let's go 3. See what happens. 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 and it flies out. Kind of reminds you of like those old like Batman titles where I don't know, there's like this old news flash thing, and it just flies out, rotating. And we can end it with a sort of slow fade to black. Let's go with 100% opacity over here, and let's go like 4 or 3 seconds right here. Make sure to type in. Oops. I accidentally clicked on the snapshot. We don't need that. I'm just gonna drop this to 4 seconds. 0. Enter. And let's drop to 0%. So as you can see right here, it goes boom, and it slowly fades away in those like 3 seconds. And there you go. We have sort of this slight animation on our text right here. This adds a little bit more character to it. But yeah, that's just, again, basics for adding sort of some movement, animation, and yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this course. If you want to watch the rest of the course, the link is down below. Not only will you get the access to this course, but you'll get access to a lot of other courses in a huge bundle, and it's on sale today. So buy it before the sale ends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.